Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book, The Leadership Playbook, no other than Mr. Nathan Jamail.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Nathan, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Absolutely. So I'm an author and I do keynote speeches and workshops. I've written 5 books, 4 on leadership and 1 on selling skills. Prior to being an author, I spent 15 years in corporate America and in leadership roles. And then I've owned 6 or 7 small companies. I say 6 or 7, I guess 7 would be the right number, over my lifetime. So married to a wonderful love of my life for 18 plus years. I can't believe it. And then 4 kids. My oldest son is 30. My youngest daughter is 13. When you get so many kids, man, you stop counting. And then I have 2 granddaughters, and I live in the countryside and in the hill country and outside of Austin, Texas. And man, I live the dream.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Nathan Jamail, thank you so much for sharing your talents with the world. So, what exactly defines a coaching culture, and why is it essential in today's business environment?
So one of the things in business that's missing and has for years, and it's something that we talk about, which is coaching people, which is making them better versus just more experienced. And in the book that you're highlighting, the Leadership Playbook, I talk about how business is corrupt, and not in the sense of finance, but in the sense that we ask leaders to coach employees, yet we never teach them how to be coaches. And coaching and managing contradict each other significantly in 5 key areas. In coaching, we spend time with those who deserve the attention. In management, we spend time with those who need the attention. So our involvement as a leader is always viewed as a negative or a consequence, which means you're failing. Where in sports, everyone wants the coach's opinion and their attention. In business, our goal is to be so good our boss leaves us alone. So what does that tell us about our involvement of our boss? The second one is in management, we tend to get involved after there is a need. In coaching, we prepare people for the opportunity. And so the question I ask leaders all the time is, how many of your people are better, or are they just more experienced and more knowledgeable, but their weaknesses are still their weaknesses and their strengths are still at the same level they were before? And so the idea behind this is, how do we create this coaching culture? And one of the biggest aspects of this is, if you look at sports, if an athlete is bad for the team morale, the locker room, sports teams will trade them to another team because they know the team and the environment of the culture is more important than any individual player. In business, if we have someone who's been there a long time or delivers good results, we'll actually keep them and we'll sacrifice the culture before the outcome of the individual. So all the things that we say that are important about people: attitude, energy, rigor, effort, team player, all those things we say are important, but at the end of the day, do we really hold that standard true for everyone in our team? And so that's what the book's about. How do you go from being just a great leader to actually being a great coach? And so that's what the Leadership Playbook kind of breaks down into piece by piece, from studying the culture expectations all the way to accountability of people, as well as building the bench and recruiting new talent.
Interesting book, Mr. Nathan, and of course, empowering. How can leaders transition from a traditional management style to coaching-oriented approach?
Yeah, so this is I travel the country and have for the last 15 years, work with hundreds of organizations and thousands of leaders on how do you do this. And no one argues with the principle of, I want to coach my people. In fact, we say we coach our people all the time, but a lot of times it's confused with feedback. We think feedback is coaching, and that it's a part of it, but it's not necessarily coaching, because coaching is about preparing people versus just correcting people. A lot of people think coaching is about not giving clear direction. A lot of people think coaching is allowing people to come up with their own solutions. That's not coaching either. And so the idea of how do you transform from a traditional management type of behavior to a coaching principle, the first thing you have to do is you have to embrace the mindset of it. And one of the things that we have to think about is, people are busy now. And so if you're busy now, how do you actually start coaching? Because coaching, one of the hardest parts of coaching is it's a time commitment. It's about giving to your people before you ever worry about responding to others. It's about meeting with them one-on-one and not for some type of social check-in or a checklist update. It's about meeting with them on a regular basis, on a weekly basis would be my preference, to prepare them for the following week and help them with what they did or did not do the previous week. But the first piece of it is understanding and embracing the principles of it, that our job is to make people better, that our job is to spend time with them prior to their asking us, right? We spend time with them to prepare them, not as a response or a correction. And that's a change. One of the hardest ones that I think people, they get, and it's hard to change, is where we spend our time. A lot of people say, you know what, I would love to spend more time with my top performers, but I'm always pulled in by the bottom performers. And then the big question becomes, and I get this quite a bit, it says, okay, I get that. I get you should spend time with the top performers and help the bottom performers either move up or move out. Because I will tell you, bottom performers in business very rarely mean bad person or poor person. And even though it has poor performance, what it means is they're in the wrong job or at the wrong organization. And so part of a coach's job isn't just to make people better who need to be there, but help those who don't fit in find a place where they can be happy and be successful. Because we all deserve that. We all deserve the ability to do the job we love and find a place where we can thrive and be successful, instead of keeping someone for the wrong reason. And it happens all the time. People keep jobs that they don't love or like because they think they need a paycheck. Leaders keep people on payroll even though they're not doing a good job because they believe a bad body is better than a nobody. And both people are suffering. It's like staying in a bad marriage. It doesn't make sense. And so one thing I challenge leaders to do is to be the person to sit down and say, hey, Daniel, this isn't working out. Like, you can't be happy. You're too good of a person and you deserve to help people find happiness. And as a leader, we owe it to our teams to help them do that. So then the question becomes, how do I move the middle? And this is where the change comes in. A lot of people think if you focus on the middle people, then when I say middle people, I mean the people in between the top performers and the bottom performers, that group will get better. It won't. More people will join the middle group. You'll have less top performers and you might have a smaller portion of lower performers, but most likely it's just your top performers become middle performers. Because at the end of the day, even though people don't say it, everyone likes attention. Even when we say we don't like attention, we still like attention because a human need is to have an impact, is to be worth something, to mean something. And so the hardest part for a leader to go into the coaching mindset is where they spend their time. Spending their time with those who deserve it so others will want it. Their attention and their time. It's a reward. And as a business leader, I'll tell you this, when you can know what people have found is when they do that, they get a better return on their investment of their time. Because if you spend time with a top performer, you make them a little bit better, your profitability goes up. Your commitment from your people go up. And so those types of things. The second biggest and the hardest part of going from a management mindset to a coaching mindset is our perspective on accountability. In management and business, we're afraid of it. We think it's mean and wrong to hold people accountable. In coaching, it's absolutely the most selfless act you can do. It's about having difficult conversations to make people better. This is why, quite candidly, if you have children, we're harder on our teenage children than we are on 30-year-old adults we pay. And it's not because we don't love our kids. It's because we do love them and they're worth the work and the sacrifice. And so, but our employees, quite candidly, it's a beatdown. It's hard work to hold people accountable, so we don't want to do it. So one of the biggest mindsets we change for leaders is that holding people accountable is a selfless act. It's a noble act. And conflict does not mean confrontation. I need to have conflict with you to help you grow and not have confrontation where I'm trying to argue or fight or put someone down. And this is one of the things that we help leaders see, is that if my intent is to help you and serve you, then what I say cannot be bad. If my intent is to hurt you, no matter what I say can be good. And so as long as my intent is in alignment with what I'm trying to do and help people, then I need to hold people accountable. And so often in business, we have people out there who are struggling in success, not because they don't want to be better. Either they don't know how, or they don't have a leader pushing them to be better.
So, Mr. Nathan, what are the common mistakes leaders make when attempting to implement a coaching culture?
One of the biggest mistakes I think I've seen is they tend to go in timid. Like, I don't want to change. I don't want to shock the team. I don't want to be over. They kind of go halfway in. And the greatest people in our lives, I'm sure it's for you. I know the people that made the biggest difference in my life were hard on me. Like, they challenged me, they pushed me, they made me be a better version of myself. And so where a lot of leaders probably fall short in this area is they say they want to do it, and then when it comes to things like holding people accountable, they talk it, but they don't do it. They talk about meeting with employees on a one-on-one basis to help them get better. They talk about teaching and practicing the skills with people, and yet they don't follow through. And so what happens is you're saying one thing and you're doing another. You want to make an impact, but because you're afraid to make that change or that stance, now things are even worse, because now you're not coaching, but you're saying you're going to coach and you're still not coaching. And so now it becomes this idea: are you a person of your word? Are you really committed to what you're saying you're committed to? And so one thing I challenge leaders to is commit to making people better, and whatever that looks like for you. And I talk about in my speeches that you can't argue the principle that holding people accountable to make them better is bad. You can't tell me investing in people and teaching them and helping them grow is bad. I start every speech with what I'll close this point with. In almost every speech I give, I ask the audience a question in the beginning. How many of you wish your people were as committed to the team, the organization, the culture, and the goals as you are? And when everyone's honest, everyone raises their hand because they all wish their employees were more committed. And I say this with all the love, and I say, listen, my intent is to serve you. I have to make sure I set this up because I'm getting ready to say something that might be construed as mean next from stage of hundreds or thousands of people. And I say, I think what you might find out when I get done is that our people aren't as committed to us, the goal, the team, the organization, as we want them to be, because I believe that although our intentions, we want to be committed to them, I think you're going to find our actions will show that we're not near committed to them as we might think we are. And so the moral of the story is committed leaders have committed followers. And so in that leadership playbook, we talk about when we allow people to be on a team who don't deserve to be there, we're letting down the team. When we don't hold people accountable, we're not committed to them. When we don't give them our time before it's needed, we're not committed to them. So often, coaching requires a great commitment, and it's not easy to do. It's never urgent, yet it's always very important. And this is why it's so hard for leaders. Now, I'll tell you this. If you look at any organization and you find their top leader, the one main reason they're probably the top leader isn't tenure or experience. It's because they actually coach and spend time with their people.
So, Mr. Nathan, how does a coaching culture empower team members at all levels of the organization?
So coaching empowers people at all levels because it makes people better. I wrote a book after this one called Serve Up, Coach Down, and I debunk servant leadership because I believe the way you serve an employee is that you coach them to get a better job. You coach them to move on, whether it's with your organization or not your organization. But the way you empower people is to make them better. You don't, the biggest mistake we make as managers as well is we think our job is to resolve the remove the obstacles from our people or resolve their problems. Problems don't come in different sizes. People do. What seems to be a small problem to me might be a big problem to someone else. The problem doesn't change. It's how we handle the problem. So my job as a leader, the way I empower my people, is to coach them to make them bigger than the problems. One of the ways we also empower our people is to help them achieve things that they wouldn't be able to achieve on their own. This is why I coach CEOs and CFOs and top leadership team. They seek the coaching because there's no one there to coach them. They pay for it because they know they want to get better. In business, our job and the way we empower our people is not to think about making them part of every decision, because that's not possible. It's not about letting them figure it out on their own and not give direction. That's just avoiding the people and the problem. The way we truly empower people is to engage with them, to help them become bigger, better, stronger. And if we truly, truly care about them, we would help them get promoted, even though it leaves a void on our team. And we wouldn't care if it's with our organization or someone else's. Now, trust me, we all have trouble finding good people. We want to keep all our good people. But if I truly care about you and I want the best for you, and there's a better opportunity outside the organization, as much as I don't want you to leave, I'll encourage it and support it.
Yes, definitely indeed. So, Mr. Nathan, what will be your short-term and long-term goals in writing as well as a coach?
Man, I'll tell you, I live the dream. I've been doing this for over almost 20 years now. And I always tell people I haven't worked since 2005. My long-term goal and my short-term goal is to stay relevant, to have an impact on people, to continue doing what I do. I do executive coaching and I do speeches, and it was a gift that my maker gave me, and I love doing it, and I believe in it. And so my long-term goal truly is to never retire, is to do this as long as I possibly can. I have a wonderful family that I love to spend time with and grow with. And as long as, and I've been real fortunate over the last 20 years, I've been able to travel a ton and do a ton of speeches and not miss my family at the same time, because I get to take them, and this life has allowed us to do a lot of cool things we otherwise wouldn't be able to. But my long and short-term goal, man, is to keep doing this, to keep helping leaders and businesses stay relevant. And I always say, this is my job that I'm going to retire doing, the same job, whether it's retirement or not. So that's my long-term goal, to get better at what I'm doing. I'm working on another book, and keep trying to bring value to people's worlds.
Good luck to your goal, Mr. Nathan. And what will be your advice for those people out there who want to cultivate their talents as a writer or as a coach or a speaker?
Oh, if you're looking to write a book, I'll tell you this: just start writing. So many people worry about what to write. Just start writing, and you got a thought, write it down. My first book, we just wrote, and then we figure out what we put in it. If you want to be a speaker, my challenge to people is, we have a saying in our business called from free to fee. If you want to speak, go over where you can speak and do it for free until someone will pay you a fee. And as you grow and you become more valuable and have a bigger impact, you get to charge more money. And I always say people say money's not important, and I don't disagree with that, although it's a heck of a scoreboard when you know your impact.
Yes.
And as a coach, it's the same idea. It's, if you want to be a coach or someone, find someone that you can help. Find someone who you can help get them where they want to be or where you were, one or the other. But do it, and don't be afraid, because we fail all the time. I always tell people I've gone broke twice in my life. I'm sure I'm not done with that side of my life. Just chase it and don't be afraid.
Definitely. Stop procrastinating, people.
Yeah.
Do it now. If you have the passion to write, do it. Do it. If you have the passion to speak, go, and motivate the world. So, Thank you, Mr. Nathan, for your advice. And what strategies can a leader use to maintain motivation and morale through a coaching mindset? Yes. Yes. Yes, true. Yes, true. Beautifully articulated, Mr. Nathan. Very well said. So before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Food 101, in its fifth season. People, fifth season with Chef Alessandro, one of the executive chef in one of the five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. Please do listen to our latest episode. We are reading our letters senders all over the world. So what are the practical steps would you recommend leaders take first when creating a coaching culture? Mr. Nathan Jamail, thank you so much for empowering the world. And we are looking forward for more and more empowering books, empowering coaching to come. So can you please invite our listeners to support your books as well as your public speaking? Yes, people, let's support Mr. Nathan Jamel because if you support him, as I said, more and more empowering books and speaking to come. So, Mr. Nathan, thank you for your time. Monica, people, see you soon. Have a good one, Mister.